You see others. You hear their voices. You feel their looks. You notice how they smile, how they lie, how they get irritated. You easily recognize other people's weakness, other people's hypocrisy, other people's fear. But you don't see yourself. You are like a man standing in front of a mirror covered in dust. You stare. You squint. But the reflection is blurred. The glass is too cloudy. Too many years of dust gathering. Too much pain to want to erase it. You live among people. And all you have in you are their reflections. Their evaluations. Their reactions. They get angry and you feel guilty. They praise and you feel important. They reject and you disappear. Where are you? Where are you in this play? Where is your voice, not the echo of someone else's words? Where are your feelings, not a reaction to expectations? You're looking at people. And everyone has a face. But if you look deeper, you'd see that most of those faces are masks. Masks stuck to their skin. Worn so long ago that they've become flesh. You think, there he is, the strong one. But his strength is only a defense against his own vulnerability. You think, here she is the successful one. But her success is armor to keep from being rejected. You see them. But you don't see that they are you. Your mirror. Your projection. What annoys you in others lives in you. What delights you is repressed in you. You don't know yourself. You only know an interpretation. A reflection. You are like a person who studies his face only by the shadows on the wall. This is not a lecture. It's not a motivational speech. It's not a happiness manual. It's not a mind-pumping training session. It's a mirror. Either you look into it or you continue to live a lie. Lies where you play a role you didn't choose. Where you're afraid to admit you don't know who you are. Where you've put on so many masks. That you've forgotten what your face is. Look. Deeper. Not at others. Into yourself. Boldly. No excuses. No pretty words. You are not what they think of you. Or even what you say about yourself. You're what's left. When no one sees you. And now you're alone. In front of a mirror. A mirror with no one in it but the truth. And if you don't turn away, the journey begins. A path where you will meet your shadow. Your pain. Your oblivion. And perhaps your strength. And if you can't see yourself, watch out. It means you're already being ruled by someone else. And that someone lives inside. You were born pure. Without form. No role. You just were. But from your earliest days, you were built. Good boy. Smart girl. Don't cry. Don't be angry. You're supposed to be strong. You're supposed to be humble. That's how the labyrinth is built. Stone by stone. Of words. Of attitudes. Of fears. You walk it for years. And at every turn, you're handed a new sign. Be obedient. Be like Daddy. Don't you dare be yourself. That's not who you are. You must. And you listen. You want love. Acceptance. You're willing to give yourself, just so you won't be rejected. That's how oblivion begins. You're not a child anymore, but you're not you. You're a set of roles. You're an actor who's forgotten what's on stage. And then you grow up. You have a voice, but it's alien. You make decisions, but you make them out of fear. You build relationships, but they don't include you. You strive for goals you don't want. You suffer, and you don't understand why. You're lost. Not in the outside world. Inside. In a maze of archetypes. Jung said the archetype is a universal figure within our psyche. A father. Hero. Victim. The righteous one. The seeker. Mother. Savior. Warrior. They're not bad. But when an archetype rules you, you lose your freedom. You're not the warrior. You're not a victim. You're not a hero. You're a man who's taken the archetype as his own. And the more you put yourself in the role, the further you are from the core. Look at the man who's strong all the time. He's afraid to fall. He's afraid to admit he's weak. He's not living. He is guarding an image. Look at the woman who is always comfortable. She never says no. She forgets herself to be needed. But at night she sobs in silence because no one sees the real her. We are not us. We are masks. We are archetypes on autopilot. Until you realize who's controlling your behavior, you'll be living in someone else's script. You will be a father as your father was. You will be a girl like your mom wanted you to be. You'll be a victim like pain taught you. You will be a rescuer because you want to be loved. But you won't be you. The labyrinth is designed so that there is no way out from the outside. It's inside. And only if you stop. Only if you stop running. You'll suddenly realize the walls are inside you. You built them yourself. And only you can take them down. As long as you play the part, you're safe. But you're also in a cage. You can't be yourself as long as you're afraid to lose the mask. Which means it's time to face the one you've forgotten. There's someone in you that you'd rather not talk about. You don't call him by name. You don't look him in the eye. You pretend he doesn't exist. But he lives inside you. Breathing. Whispers. Sometimes it screams. Translated with deephell.com, free version. It's the shadow. Jung said, the shadow is everything you've denied in yourself. Everything you've been hiding, afraid, ashamed of. All your repressed desires. All the emotions you couldn't express. All that is wrong, unseemly, out of order, in you. You wanted to scream, but you were taught to be quiet. You were angry, but you were told not to be angry. You felt envy, jealousy, fear, rage, but you hid it. Under the rug. In the depths. Under the mask. And now you don't know who you are. Because you only know the light. And without darkness, light is a lie. You live as if you had no shadow. But look how you react. Why do you hate those who are braver than you? Why do you get triggered by people who speak bluntly? Why do you despise weakness, even though you yourself fear being vulnerable? Because everything you've rejected comes back. In others. In dreams. In breakdowns. In random outbursts of aggression that you can't explain. You think you're kind. But kindness without contact with the shadow isn't a power. It's a role. You think you're strong. But strength that is afraid to admit pain is fragility disguised in armor. The shadow doesn't disappear. It watches. It waits. And the more you suppress it, the more it controls you from within. People think, if I recognize my shadow, I'll be a monster. But the truth is different. When you don't recognize your shadow, you become a monster. Unconsciously. Blindly. Destroying yourself and others. To look into the shadow is not to be broken. It means becoming whole. You can't be truly free until you recognize your dark side. You can't truly love until you recognize that you can also hate. You can't forgive until you recognize how much you want to punish. The shadow is not an enemy. It's a part of you. Forgotten. Discarded. But alive. And once you dare to look into its eyes, you'll see yourself for the first time for real. No filters. No roles. No fear. You won't be a monster if you meet the shadow. But you will definitely stop being a doll. And that's scarier. For those who are used to seeing you as convenient. You look at a man and you think you see him. But what you really see is yourself. Or rather, a part of yourself that you haven't realized. That's projection. You say, he pisses me off. But if you dig deeper, you're pissed off at something you won't let yourself be. You say, she's overconfident. But inside you're jealous of her freedom to be herself. You say, he's manipulative. But maybe you're manipulating yourself, only in a different way, through victimization, through guilt. Every man is a mirror. And if something in him causes a strong emotion in you, it means that you are in it. Jung said, everything that annoys us in others can lead to understanding ourselves. But you don't want to see that. Because it's easier to blame the other person. It's easier to say, he's bad. It's harder to ask, what does that say about me? You hate and you think it's about him. But the hate lives in you. He just activated it. You fall in love, and you think he's special. But you've fallen in love with a part of yourself you've forgotten. Your strength. Your courage. Your tenderness. It's what's in him. And that's who you're drawn to. Projection is not a mistake. It's a path. If you're honest enough not to run from it. Have you been betrayed? You may be betraying yourself daily by settling for less. Are you being disrespected? Do you respect yourself? Or do you constantly go against yourself just to be liked? You want others to be honest. But you lie every day, to yourself, to the world, to your body, to your soul. You want to be loved. But do you love yourself when you don't hear your desires? Every strong emotion is a signal. Not about them. It's about you. You're not just an observer. You are the projector. You are the screen. And everything you see is a reflection of your inner movie. As long as you think the source of pain is outside, you remain a victim. But if you recognize that everything is inside, you gain power. Not over others. Over yourself. Projection is a gift. Unpleasant, painful, scalding. But if you unwrap it, you recognize who you are. You're not mad at him. You're angry that he's showing you your wound. And until you accept that, you will remain dependent on other people's faces. He speaks softly. But you hear him every day. It lives in your head, but it seems more real than anything else around you. It's a voice that criticizes, humiliates, compares, doubts, devalues. You've messed up again. You're not good enough. The others are doing fine, but you? You're a nobody. Did you do it? You could have done better. That voice doesn't shout. It whispers. Constantly. It's like a background. Like radio static in your head. And you live without even noticing that every second someone inside you is breaking your will. That's the inner jailer. A figure that is formed from the voices of parents, society, teachers. Of all the people who once told you that you are not. Shouldn't be. Not worthy. You've grown up. But that voice remains. And now you don't need an outside supervisor. You keep yourself in a cage. Translated with deephell.com, free version. You want to start something and you hear. You can't do it. You want to say, no, and it comes back to you. What if they take offense? You want to rest, but he whispers. Lazy. Pathetic. No use. You've become your own executioner. You build a life as if you always have to prove something to somebody. You don't live, you justify your existence. With work. Effort. Sacrifice. You can't stop. Because you're afraid that if you stop being useful, they won't love you. If you're not perfect, you're not worthy. If you're wrong, you're nothing. That's not the truth. It's a program. An infected system where you're a prisoner. But you're also the guard. Paradox, you want freedom, but you hold the keys to your cage. You're afraid to get out. Because freedom is a responsibility. And in the cage, everything is clear. Painful, but familiar. But until you face that voice, you'll live by its dictation. It will tell you who you are. It will decide what you are worthy of. It will choose for you. There is a way out. But it's not out there. It's in your decision. The decision. To no longer take that voice at its word. To question every phrase inside that breaks you. To ask the question, who is speaking in me now? Me, or the shadow of the past? You are not the voice in your head. You are the one who hears it. And once you realize that, the real way out begins. Out of a prison you never even noticed. You live with the feeling that you know who you are. Name. Age. Profession. Beliefs. Character. You can describe yourself. You can even argue if someone says you're not. But stop. Who is you? Someone who is liked by others. The one who tries to be good. The one who tries not to stand out. Or the one who, on the contrary, is always special, right, true. And now for the big question. Did you choose what you want to be? Or did you just mold yourself from what worked to survive? Jung called it the pseudo-self. A personality that grows like armor. Like a mask. As a response to a world in which it's dangerous to be yourself. You once cried and were laughed at. You once screamed and you were punished. You were spontaneous, and you were judged. And you realized, it's not safe to be yourself. That's how illusion is born. You become needed. You become acceptable. You adapt. And the greater the trauma, the thicker the armor. You create an identity that is approved. Successful. Normal. Invisible. Luba. Charismatic. Modest. Anything but real. You forget that it's not you. And you start defending that mask as yourself. You think if it cracks, you'll disappear. But the truth is, as long as you hold on to it, you're not living. You're afraid of being stupid, so you live smart. You're afraid of being rejected and you live comfortable. You're afraid of being weak, and you live strong. You fear being visible and live invisible. But fear remains. It never goes away. Because the pseudo-self doesn't heal. It hides it. It saves you where the danger has passed. It keeps you in the past, even though you want to move forward. You don't have to be what you've learned to be. You can give up the image. You can start over, without trying to please, justify, deserve. But first, the pain. The pain of breaking the illusion. You are not who you thought you were. You're deeper. Wider. Softer. Stronger. Weirder. More contradictory. You're alive. And a living person doesn't fit into a template. The pseudo-self is a cage painted for life. But you feel something is wrong. And when you dare to drop the mask, you will not disappear. You show up for the first time. You live with the feeling that you know who you are. Name. Age. Profession. Beliefs. Character. You can describe yourself. You can even argue if someone says you're not. But stop. Who is you? Someone who is liked by others. The one who tries to be good. The one who tries not to stand out. Or the one who, on the contrary, is always special, right, true. And now for the big question. Did you choose what you want to be? Or did you just mold yourself from what worked to survive? Jung called it the pseudo-self. A personality that grows like armor. Like a mask. As a response to a world in which it's dangerous to be yourself. You once cried and were laughed at. You once screamed and you were punished. You were spontaneous, and you were judged. And you realized, it's not safe to be yourself. That's how illusion is born. You become needed. You become acceptable. You adapt. And the greater the trauma, the thicker the armor. You create an identity that is approved. Successful. Normal. Invisible. Luba. Charismatic. Modest. Anything but real. You forget that it's not you. And you start defending that mask as yourself. You think if it cracks, you'll disappear. But the truth is, as long as you hold on to it, you're not living. You're afraid of being stupid, so you live smart. You're afraid of being rejected and you live comfortable. You're afraid of being weak, and you live strong. You fear being visible and live invisible. But fear remains. Translated with deepl.com, free version. He's not going anywhere. Because the pseudo-self doesn't heal. It hides. It saves you where the danger has passed. It keeps you in the past, even though you want to move forward. You don't have to be what you've learned to be. You can give up the image. You can start over, without trying to please, justify, deserve. But first, the pain. The pain of breaking the illusion. You are not who you thought you were. You're deeper. Wider. Softer. Stronger. Weirder. More contradictory. You're alive. And a living person doesn't fit into a template. The pseudo-self is a cage painted for life. But you feel something is wrong. And when you dare to drop the mask, you will not disappear. You will appear for the first time. You think the strong one is the one in control. Yourself. His life. Your environment. Emotions. Situations. You want to be in control. Calculate. Understand. Control. To be one step ahead. You feel like losing control is defeat. Weakness. Collapse. Danger. But think about it, where does this need come from in you? Control is a response to fear. To past pain. To the chaos you once drowned in. To a situation where you were betrayed, abandoned, humiliated. And you swore to yourself, never again. And you started building walls. You want to control everything so you don't feel the pain again. But here's the paradox. It's this attempt at control that makes you vulnerable. You don't trust people, and you lose true intimacy. You don't trust yourself, and you silence your intuition. You don't let go of situations, and you lose the spontaneity of life. You think things through, but you're anxious all the time. Control is an illusion. Life is not controllable. The harder you clench your fist, the more painful it is when it comes out. True strength lies elsewhere. The ability to be. The ability to go into the unknown. The ability to admit, I don't know everything. The ability to feel instead of blocking. The ability to cry when it hurts. The ability to tell the truth even when it's scary. True strength is a gentleness unbroken by pain. It's an openness that survives betrayal. It's vulnerability that doesn't need armor. The strong one is not the one who never falls. It's the one who knows how to get up, and isn't ashamed of having fallen. You want to be the master of your life? Then let go. Not control, but honesty. Not rigidity, but flexibility. Not strategy, but awareness. You're afraid to trust life. But life is not the enemy. It leads if you let it. Control is the cry of fear. Strength is the silence that says, I can do this. Even if it doesn't go according to plan. Even if it hurts. Even if I don't know how. That's where true power begins. You want to be good. You want to be accepted. You want to be loved, respected, recognized. And for that, you cut out everything that doesn't fit into the picture. Anger. Envy. Desire for power. Fear. Hate. Sexuality. Cruelty. You push it to the back of your mind. You say to yourself, that's not who I am. You build an image, bright, pure, right. But deep down, there's a shadow. Jung called the shadow the part of the personality you don't recognize as your own. You don't want to see it. But it's part of you. And the more you deny it, the more it controls you. You snap and you don't understand why you're so angry. You're jealous, but you hide it behind judgment. You humiliate, but call it justice. You manipulate, but you call it caring. You don't notice how the shadow operates from within. But others feel it. People intuitively read your shadow. It is what causes rejection, strange reactions, fear, attraction. The shadow is not evil. It's a displaced force. It's energy that you've blocked out. And now it's looking for a way out. The shadow is your suppressed freedom. You don't allow yourself to be alive, and it bursts out. You only want to be light, but light without darkness is impossible. Face it. You are capable of evil. You are capable of betrayal. You are capable of destruction. But it is the recognition of that makes you truly conscious. As long as you fear your shadow, you are controlled by it. When you look it in the eye, you become whole. You want power? Then don't just meditate and smile. Go deep. Into the darkness. Into what you've always turned away from. Your aggression can become your boundary. Your jealousy can reveal your wounded need for love. Your envy will show you the path to your repressed desires. Every shadow part carries potential. But only if you stop fearing it. You're not just light. You are also darkness. But it's the one who can hold both sides that becomes whole. And that's true maturity. Real strength. Real freedom. You're looking for answers. Books. People. Courses. You watch videos, read articles. You're feeding from the outside all the time. It's like you're looking for a key. But you can't find it. You're trying. You want to be better. You're working on yourself. You're evolving. But, there's still something wrong. It's like you know everything, but you don't feel it. It's like you've got it all figured out, but you're not living it. It's like you're close, but you're not home. Why? Because you're going outward, when the reversal should be inward. You're looking for an explanation instead of listening. You seek to fix yourself instead of touching yourself. You stare into a screen when you should be closing your eyes. The path to yourself is not an outward route. It's a reversal. A quiet one. Deep. Uncomfortable. It doesn't feel like a victory. It's more like a crash. You stop holding on. You stop playing. You let go of the image. You stay with who you are, no makeup, no role, no script. You feel pain for the first time. Shame. Fear. Abandonment. Emptiness. But it's there, in that darkness, that you find yourself. Not who you need to be. But who you are. Not perfect. But real. You listen to your breathing. You notice the tension in your body. You catch thoughts, no longer believing them blindly. You breathe into your wound without running away. You stop being someone, and become you. You regain your sense of life. Normal. No special effects. But your own. And you see. The answers weren't in the words. Not in gurus. Not in ideologies. They were always inside. You were just afraid to look in there. It's dark. It hurts. You're alone in there. But it's in that silence that you're alive for the first time. True awakening isn't a flash on a screen. It's a moment when you stay with yourself. And suddenly you realize, I'm home. I'm here. I am. You want to understand yourself. You want to heal yourself. You want to awaken yourself. But you're forgetting the main thing. You are not something static. You are a process. A movement. A vector. A choice. You are not your passport. Not your history. Not your traumas. You are what you are willing to see in yourself. If you only see the good in yourself, you're living half a life. If you only see the bad in yourself, you're living in distortion. But if you are willing to look honestly, you begin to see whole. You see how afraid you are. You see how you lie. You see how you pretend. And you don't run away. You don't make excuses. You don't save yourself with an illusion. You just stay. You begin to breathe in the truth. With each inhale, a little clearer. With each exhale, a little deeper. You don't fix yourself, you see. You don't heal yourself, you accept. You're not recreating yourself, you're stripping away everything unnecessary. You are already there. You have always been. You have just been in the shadows. Jung wrote. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will run your life, and you will call it destiny. The path is not outward. Not upward. Not forward. The way is inward. You can't take the power. But you can stop turning away from it. You can't become you by force of will. But you can let yourself be. You think you're looking for yourself. But the truth is, you are not lost. You are hidden. Beneath the masks. Under fears. Under expectations. Under other people's voices. You don't need to be added. You need removal. The removal of all that is not yours. All that is imposed. All that is built on pain. To be left with what's left when everything is removed. That's what you are. And it's unpredictable. Creepy. Inspiring. It's not easy. But it's real. You're not an idea. You're not an image. You are a living, feeling, breathing being. You are the moment in which you decide not to run away. You are the depth you dare to look into. You are what you are willing to see. The path is not to the light. And not to darkness. The path is to wholeness. And that starts with being honest with yourself. Not to change. But to see. Not to become someone. But to stop running away from who you are.